Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Cream of the Stream podcast. We have a very special guest today by the name of That1GuyD. He's a fantastic killer main. He claps a lot of cheeks. He's competitive. He's very good. Do not forget, we do not have any notifications going right now. This is a podcast. We try to keep it, no distractions type thing. I do appreciate the follows, appreciate the support, appreciate the love. Do not forget, this is going to be posted to YouTube. If you'd like to subscribe to me, that'd be great. And also comment, like, and suggest new people that we can get on here. That would be super good. But without further ado, let's get Dion in here. I'm excited for this one. Show him some love. Here he is, D.
What up? What
How you
up?
doing, D?
I'm doing
Good to
good. How
see
you
you, buddy.
doing? The man, the
It's
myth, the
good.
Cato, live in the flesh, right in front of my eyes. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. It's good to actually, talk to you live. I think
hmm
we've played some games together before. We actually played against Dina one time because she was doing a Survive with Friends, and we
That was
completely
so
destroyed
funny.
her. It was
Oh
it
my
was fun,
goodness.
but I felt bad at the same time because I played against her before and I kind of bullied her, and I felt kind of bad about it, but it was really good. It was really fun.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, our first time ever playing together, and that's when we made the
Yeah.
connection that we both knew her as well. So, and then yeah, I don't think she played DBD again after that day.
Yeah, I've been noticing that she's been playing a lot of what is it, Elder Scrolls Online.
hmm
I think
Yeah, and she's
yeah.
thriving there. Good for her.
Yeah, very good, very good.
hmm
Well, you've watched the podcast before, and
I have.
gotta say, I love you stopping by. I've always enjoyed seeing your name in chat, and I've always enjoyed shooting the shit with you whenever you're live as well.
hmm
You know what you do on the podcast, so where did you grow up? How was the early life?
So I was actually born in LA. Lived there through till like I was 4, so like I don't really remember it, but I was born there. And then moved to San Diego. And I went through high school, um, grade school, elementary school, all that in San Diego till I was like 17. So that's when I graduated. And then we all moved to Kansas City after I graduated high school. So San Diego is definitely where like a majority of my memories are as a child, and where like my love for video games came through and everything. Um, and then Kansas City's been more like my professional, like adult life. So two different lives, two different places. So
How long have you been in KC? Did you say?
since '07. So what, 2021? It's been 14 years now, almost.
And how did you meet Tally?
So Tally actually worked for my mom. My mom's a restaurant general manager for Olive Garden, and the one here in our and where we live, Tally was, I think, a busser and then eventually a server for her. And so I also did management for a long time. So that's where my roots started. So I would go into her restaurant a lot, just kind of like, shoot, I get free Olive Garden. Let's do it. I'm old enough. I got a car. I want Olive Garden. And because of that, I met Tally. We had a lot of mutual friends. Went to a lot of sporting Kansas City games. Uh, and this is all while he was going through, his struggles as well. And like we weren't so close to the fact that I knew about all that. We were just more so like social friends, and we really became really good friends when Fortnite came out. Oddly enough, because then we gamed together like every day for a year straight. It was insane.
Well, I want to congratulate you too on making the GG Gamers team. That's awesome. That's a huge accomplishment. And
Thank you.
I was complimenting you earlier whenever we were talking. I love how much better you have gotten at Dead by Daylight. How the competitive thing is really working for you. And you're a world record holder on the Wraith. That's awesome. That's a light to
I
hang your hat on,
was.
man.
I
You
was.
were.
It got beat 2 weeks ago.
Well, you know what that means? You just gotta sweat harder, man. You gotta
I
sweat
do.
harder.
Got to. No, I mean, it's funny. People talk about the world records and they talk about the speed runs, and really, I didn't even know they were a thing until I started doing the community showdowns with Spooky, and that introduced me to Fosney. And Fosney held the nurse record for a long time. And then Super Alf came in and beat his record. And Running Man told me that Super Alf was probably one of the best comp players he had seen as far as Nurse. And Nurse was always the one that I'd never wanted to play. But if I wanted to be taken serious in comp, I had to have a good nurse. So I watched a lot of Alf, and then found his records where they're restored. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I can do this. And here we are now. Ex world record holder.
Yeah, which I looked at Super Out the other day. I was kind of lurking, and what was it? He had 197 4Ks in a row or something like that, something ridiculous like that. Which that's one
And
of
I
those.
think it was no add-ons. I'm pretty positive.
Which
Like he was insane.
that just doesn't like it doesn't sound fun to go up against, man. Like because
Oh
like a good
no,
nurse, it's so hard to compete against a really good nurse because
I
the
agree.
tracking and everything else. It's just it's bad. It's rough, but
The
good
best
for
thing
him.
to do against a nurse is not know where you're going. Honestly, like the survivors that I struggle killing when I'm playing nurse are the ones I'm like, what are you doing? I have no idea where you're going because they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that actually. I usually
Yeah.
if it's a corn map, I just run for corn and I start just dancing, and most of the time it works, but sometimes there's people like Soul, if you run into them, I mean, his tracking is phenomenal, so he's gonna find
Hmm.
you and there's not much you can do. You just have to bite the pillow and just
Oh
hope you
yeah.
can waste as much time as you can.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny that you say that because, like, from a comp side of things, you're gonna get caught by the killer if you're a survivor. Best thing you can do is just waste time. So, I mean, that's all you can do. Well, I wasted about 20 seconds of this time. We have a generator X amount percent done now. All right, cool. Don't die.
So, after you grew up,
Mhm.
you said that you moved to Casey in 2007.
Yep.
You were you in high school at that point?
No, I actually graduated in California first. My grandmother lived here. So my mom wanted to be closer to her mother because my grandmother was by herself because my grandfather passed when I was a freshman. So my mom just wanted to be by her mom. So we moved out here. And they're like, you can stay in San Diego. You don't have to come with us. I'm like, yeah, nah. I'm not trying to pay $2,000 for a one bedroom apartment by myself in California. Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I've heard that it's pretty spicy over there,
Hmm.
but,
Oh yeah.
you know, I don't know what the cost of living's like in KC. I'm sure it's a lot better though.
I mean, when I was married, the last place I had with my ex-wife was a three-bedroom duplex, fully finished basement. Like it was basically a house. It was just connected to another, half a house, but it was huge, huge, and it was like 1,600. So I'd rather pay that than $2,000 for a one bedroom. And even what we
Yeah.
paid was extremely high because we rented. Like if you would were to buy that, I mean, cut that price in half. I mean, if you've got good, good credit, good financing, like it's crazy.
So you're still working right now while you stream and everything?
Yep. Yep.
And is it a work
So
from home?
no, sometimes hybrid, hybrid. So actually, I started off my career working in restaurants. I did restaurant management, or I did restaurants in general from '07, which was my first job at Red Robin, till about a year ago. It was when I finally left the restaurant industry. Um, yeah, almost a year ago. Maybe less? I don't remember. Something like that. Point being, I was in restaurants most of my career. I started as a server, worked my way up to GM. I was a GM at 23, and then uh, did that. I mean, it was good money. I was trying to make money for my family. I had two girls, um, and I gamed casually just for fun to like de-stress and relax. Um, I actually picked up streaming way back in the day, like 3 years ago, back when Fortnite first came out, because I was like, shoot, Ninja can do it, I can do it. Um, and well,
It's
it's not
that
that
easy.
easy. Yeah. Let me tell you, folks, it's not as easy as just turning on your PS4 and playing a video game. I'll put it that much.
Yeah.
But no, did that. And then I left the restaurant industry after COVID happened. Restaurants got really hard. And like after dealing with COVID and working through COVID, I was just kind of burnt out on restaurants. I was over it. Not necessarily because of like the sanctions that were in place. It was just people like the clientele changed and what they were worried about. And so I decided to just take a risk. And my best friend offered me a job working for his company. So like I've known Tally a long time, but one of the first friends I made when I moved out to Kansas City was this guy named Andrew. And we've been friends since we worked together at Red Robin. And he has a business where we take brands that want to sell on Amazon. and we make them sell efficiently. And we're actually partnered with Amazon, so we get a lot of like the cool insights and like I know Amazon's back end, like how the listings work and advertising work, like things you wouldn't even think of. But I control all the advertising for 44 clients. Yeah, 44 different businesses. So that's what I do Monday through Friday. I mean, I'm technically on call all the time. So like I'll be in midstream and something will come through like on the weekend and I'll just answer it real quick and fix it. And I mean, I'll go quiet for like maybe 30 seconds and then I'm right back to stream. So um, definitely took a risk and it worked out. It worked out.
That sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a pretty cool job.
Yeah, it literally is just I'm a guy that likes to figure out patterns. And like it's definitely geared at that. It's almost like playing another video game, right? Because I literally just adjust bids all day. Because the way Amazon advertising work is you bid on a keyword, and it's a live auction all day long. And I literally just adjust bids all day to make sure people are making money and that they're bidding on the right keywords and that it's profitable and that they're getting enough sales from that keyword for the amount of money they spend on that keyword. And um, you know, uh, it's been helpful because I've got all those years of customer service and talking to people. So like when I talk to these clients, I'm like, I've got this. Relax. You're okay. Like you just have to constantly reassure them that, hey, it's a work in progress. We're getting there. It's not going to happen overnight. And then the ones that are doing well, I'm like, yeah, you're at this, this, and this. They're like, cool. We're printing money at this point. Like it's insane. So
So it's kind of just like streaming, it's just a work in progress.
mhm, absolutely. I mean, shoot, I know streaming is always a work in progress. Every day you're trying to get better. Every day you're trying to learn something. You're trying to do something a little bit better. I mean, we talked earlier. I cannot figure out lighting for the life of me. It's literally like my biggest pet peeve. I'm constantly readjusting my lighting, constantly.
Yeah, I used the same camera, and
Hmm.
I looked up a lot of things to make it look better. I started with the Razer Kio, and I took it back because I hated it. And no matter what I did, I changed all kinds of settings. I just kept looking washed out, and I finally got it where it looks pretty good on my end. It doesn't look like the best. I'm sure there's some things I could do to add some filters and make it look a little bit better, but
Hmm.
lighting is a dick, and
Well, like,
also audio. Audio is a
see,
dick.
the only issue I have with audio is because I'm so loud that my mic will clip. And I've adjusted it so much to the point that like it's probably at the best it's been. But like my voice, I can like be very deep, but then I can also hit high notes way higher than I should. But like when I get excited, I yell and it clips. It sucks. So yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, mic
yeah, I feel
issues.
that.
It's just constantly trying to figure it out. All right, let me try this. Let me try this. See if it works.
I'm ready.
Hmm?
I'm ready.
Ready? Ready.
Yeah, you said you were getting ready to do something. Let me try
Oh, I
this.
was no, meaning like with streaming, like with your
Oh,
filters and
okay.
like
So that
your
was like that was. I thought you were actually going hard on something. I was like, okay, lay it on me.
no, no,
I
no, no,
got you.
no. I was
I
saying
got
like
you.
when you're streaming,
Talking
like
about new
you're always
filters.
yeah, you're always adjusting things like, okay, let's try this here. Okay, let's try this here. Sorry, I didn't I yeah,
That's all right.
I
That's
was
all right.
so
So
confused.
so when you started streaming with Fortnite,
I did.
and
So
was that under the same tag, or have you rebranded yourself since then?
so I actually started off streaming under the name DAVLLOARM. It was just something I always went by on PSN. I just wanted the usernames to match, and it was just the first three letters of my first, middle, and last name. Um, and we started off at Fortnite because one night, me and a bunch of my buddies were playing Protect the President, but we were all drunk while playing it. And it was the funniest thing, like, ever. And basically, one person could only run a pistol. Everybody else had to protect that guy from dying, and he was the president. If he died, we all had to die. It was a blast. Like we laughed for no lie, probably 5 6 hours straight playing Fortnite. And so one of us was like, "Why don't we stream this? See what how it goes?" And of course, I'm like, "I'll do it. I've got a PS4. I could just upload it. No big deal." Yeah. Then come to find out, I turn it on and I've got 0 viewers. I don't understand. Why don't I have any viewers? And then I made that switch from Fortnite to Blackout, the old Call of Duty BR, and still to this day, my favorite BR I've ever played. and I actually got affiliate off that game. And like I said, this was about 3 years ago. Um, got affiliate. I was like, "Holy shit, I did it." Like, I started getting subs back then, like, this was insane. But then, at the time, my ex-wife decided she didn't like it. She didn't like me doing this anymore because I used to stream from 10 to 2 every evening, at night, and then I would get up, with the baby. I would go to work in restaurants. So I'm like, "This is my time. Like, you're already in bed. What does it matter?" Right? And it was all fine, but then it started taking off, so then I quit. I completely quit, walked away, because I was trying to do the right thing as a husband. Your wife says she doesn't like something, so you do that, right? And I still played games, but I didn't stream anymore. So like I was going to bed at like midnight opposed to 2. Was getting up, was more attentive, trying to put my attention on her because she felt like she wasn't getting enough attention. Um, and well, come full circle. There's a whole history behind that, but um, it was something I did that I felt was the right move at the time, and so I walked away. Um, and believe it or not, I actually tried streaming Dead by Daylight back in that day. And I'd been doing shooters the whole time and was doing well. I was getting like I think I started getting up into like the tens, and for like a new streamer, that's huge, right? Um, and then I streamed Dead by Daylight and had no one in chat. Nobody. Nobody watched. And I was like, "Yep, never playing this again." Turned it off. Uh, so and now look at me. So,
You were wrong. You're dead
yeah.
wrong.
"You're wrong, Colonel Sanders. Mama's right."
So when
It
did when
was,
did you start playing DBD?
Pyramid Head when he came out. When I started playing it, like, I guess you could say religiously, right? Like, I play it all the time. It was when Pyramid Head came out. It was, right at the what is that? The 4-year anniversary?
Yeah,
Um
so that was literally a year ago,
Mhm. Yep.
just about.
It right when so I came back to streaming in April because of, Tally. He was doing really good. He did that drag stream. I was there, super supportive, brought him pizza that night. He was like, "Dude, you need to get back into this." Because at that point, I had just kinda like I was starting life was starting to normalize after me and my wife separated. I was dealing with not having my girls all the time. COVID happened, so, like, I wasn't used to doing my normal job all the time. Everything changed. And as much as I enjoy change, when you have too much at one time, it's overwhelming, and people don't really it's hard to explain. It was one of the one times where I felt like nothing was in control. Um, and so he goes, stream again. So, like, I technically say, like, I've been streaming for real coming up on a year now. Like, I did it back in the day. Everybody kind of went through their phase, but I've been taking it serious now, coming up on a year. So,
And do you
it was
have any
because
of
of Tally.
those do you have any of those old homies? Did any of them stick with you? Or is
I've
it
got
mostly
one.
just new?
I've got one. His name is Freedom Fries, and he's got a founder's badge, and uh, he was one of the Fortnite homies from back in the day, and he still pops in resubs for I think he's at like 14 or 15 months now because he was one of the first subs I ever had. So, and then he comes in, says hi, lurks, and does his thing. Like, super cool to see that. Like, he's a in real life friend though. So like he comes in, supports, goes about his business. So,
That's fantastic. That's
mhm.
fantastic. And are you
Oh
gonna
yeah.
stay with DBD, or do you plan on moving to anything else?
I'm definitely feeling DBD, with how much I've leaned into the competitive scene. As long as DBD is relevant, it's the game. And I mean, even after that, like I've put so much time into learning this game so quickly, trying to be good so I can compete, and be taken serious from a competitor standpoint. Like, I'm gonna keep playing it. There's no reason why I don't.
Do you plan on doing any variety, or are you just gonna do DBD? I know I see you play Call of Duty every once in a while.
So I used to do Shooter Sunday, every Sunday, um, but I was advised to kind of just stick to the genre, because Running Man mentors me. Um, talking to Tally's got a lot of great insight, Ganny, Boosted, like, the whole GG gamers have all given insight, like, ultimately, we're all trying to grow, and we're trying to get better, and I decided with, the help of them, like, "Hey, this is what we think, what do you think?" And I'm a very rational guy, and I understand how it works, and, I definitely was like, Shooter Sunday may not be to play. I was still pulling in decent numbers when I was doing it. But once I went full send into DBD, everything took off. I mean, and granted, I've still got a long way to go, but like for me, things started taking off when I just went, all right, I'm all in. Let's do it.
Which I think, like they probably told you that seems like it works pretty well because, sticking with the genre, obviously the people that are watching Dead by Daylight want to watch horror. Like
Exactly.
they love the horror. And just about anybody, if you're like, yeah, did you guys watch the Saw movies? Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
I love watching people get murdered. It's my shit.
Yeah, exactly. And now I do think one game that's going to translate very well between the both. I think Home Sweet Home will. Um, I really enjoy that game as long as I can get the bugs fixed. Um, but I think that there could be some collabs coming up in that, with the GG gamers and whatnot. But yeah, as far as shooters go, I do that. I reserve that for off stream, because I've become to the realization that I need to on my off nights not play DVD.
Yeah.
Just for my sanity. Like I can tell when I've played it too much. Like when I'm coming up on like that final day of like before my day off, I'm pretty tilty that day just because like you're tired. You're playing sweaty takes a toll. It definitely does.
Yeah, which, for burnout, you definitely need the off stream play something else, which
Mhm,
I kind of I got burnout on DVD for a while, and I don't know why. I don't know why it happened. I'm sure it happened to you, but I literally didn't play it for like 3 weeks. And
mhm.
I was doing that was like right whenever Phasmo released. So I was pretty much just playing Phasmo. And I played Hunt. I played some other games. I think I played In Silence.
Mhm.
I was just getting wore out with it. And I think we've all got to that point after playing DVD for some time.
Yeah, and I get it. Like you've got way more hours than I do, I'm sure. But like,
I know about way more, but I probably have more.
oh, I
We're-
mean, I know like coming through it. Like I know when I started playing DVD, you were like somebody that everybody talked about was a really good player. So like I just assumed that you had more players or more hours than me. Hey, I mean, I've played with you. You're good. Like, you like to meme, and there's a difference between memeing and playing like to win, right? And if you can meme at a high level, that means you can win at a high level too. So like, it's harder to meme in this game than it is to actually play hard, if that makes sense. Because all it takes is for a killer to catch you in one of your memes, and you're done. So I respect the memers, believe that, because it's harder to do, especially
I
efficiently.
I've thrown a lot of games for memeing, and I don't know if that's the right call, but you know, everybody in chat's like, "No, what are you doing?" Like, I'm like, "I think it's
I
funny."
mean,
Sorry.
I may or may not have thrown a game or two where somebody dies on hook because I'm head-onning a killer. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I like to throw pebbles like for no reason at all. They're like in the middle of the chase. I'll be at the gate and I throw a pebble and they hit me down and kill me, and I'm like, ah, it was worth it. You like
I
that
mean,
pebble, didn't you?
yeah, well, I mean, when I was coming up learning killer, I had those survivors that I hated, right? The ones that teabagged, ones that flashlight blinded at the pallets, flashlight saves. Like they used to tilt me. I used to get so mad about it, right? Now, like when they do it, I'm like, that's me. I can't even be mad. Like I am the survivor that I used to hate playing against.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
like, I get
Kinda
it.
same. Yeah, kinda same. I get pretty spicy. Like, I think we've all been there too, like, there's just a team that when you're playing killer, you can't beat, and they pretty
Oh yeah.
much just aggravate you the entire time, and honestly, when I'm on stream, I just act as if, but, like, if I'm playing by myself, kinda like you, like, I wanna win,
Mhm.
so, like, I sit there and I try to go the extra mile and win, and I got a guy that brought in a flashlight, and the whole crew brought in flashlights, and I was playing Huntress, and gotta say, not a very good Huntress. And these guys were like, I was like a level 17 killer at the time, and they were all level 17 survivors. And I was like, I should be fine. And this was whenever I actually showed all the ranks and everything in
Mhm.
the lobby. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, I should be fine. I don't see a problem with this. And then I was wrong. I was way wrong. I don't know if these guys hadn't played in a while or they've like been
Mhm.
intentionally depipping, but they beat the crap out of me. Every person I got down, I'd pick up. There'd be somebody there for a flashlight save. I put my nose in the corner trying to pick somebody up, somehow still get a flashlight save. And I remember
Yeah.
like shutting it off and just like, all right, that's what I do to people. I guess I need to settle down too.
It's been a minute since I got bullied like that. And I still remember the last time it happened. It was actually maybe a month or two ago. Um, and the guy that actually reached out to me was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry if that tilted you," because I was on stream when I faced him. I was on Thompson House and I was playing as Ghostface, and this guy, their collective hours was over 15,000 hours of the four of them. His name was Siptonic. Guy is super cool, super nice guy, hell of a survivor. And the guys he runs with are like OGs. They don't get touched unless they want to be touched type survivors, right? I think well, first off, I couldn't even use Ghostface Cloak. I was getting uncloaked as soon as I went into Cloak. They were the killers that match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was insane. It was insane. And and I've talked to him after that and I've been in his streams and the guy's a super nice guy. It's just when you have that many hours, they're like, we were bored. I'm like, understood. I get it. I was like, but it was also on one of those nights where I've been playing for like 10 days in a row and I was like, I'm tired. I'm tilted. I'm ass. It was tough. It was tough, but I'd love to play that team again and see how I do now because even from then to now, like I've learned so much more. I've acclimated so much more into my skill set, and how I play the game. That I think that game would go a little different, but I definitely wouldn't play them as Ghostface again.
Maybe you should reach out to him and see if it could happen.
Oh God,
I
I'd have
mean,
to
I gotta
mentally
say
prepare.
though, playing teams like that is definitely a good way to get better. If you don't challenge yourself, you don't get any better, and that's
Absolutely.
definitely a good way to do it.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah, I
you
mean, I'll be the first person to tell somebody if they're a great survivor. Like, you've seen it. End game chat, people talking back and forth. I always give them a solid G Jules. I don't care how mad I am at the game. Sportsmanship. Hey, good game. Like, you were better than me. And if they want to come in and complain afterwards, if I were to win, like, hey man, like, I'll explain to you how I played the game. Because I don't intentionally tunnel anybody. I don't make it personal. I don't camp people. Now, do I proxy sometimes if I'm down? 100%. But I don't intentionally tunnel. Like if I always make it a point to hook somebody and go after somebody else. And then if after I go after that somebody else, you're the first person I see, well, run better. Not my problem. Like I'm not gonna walk by you because I don't there's somebody else. Like if I don't see anybody else, I'm gonna take you. So people definitely get upset about it, but I'm like, hey man, it wasn't intentional. Don't take it personal. Like I didn't look at you and be like, ooh, this person's gotta die because I don't like their green hair on Nia. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
which honestly, I tell everybody in chat, like, if I'm getting face camped, I most likely deserve it. And
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
I get it. I get it, honestly.
After I've flashlight blinded you, iron willed underneath your legs 3 times, I've head on you 2 other times, decisive strike head on you with the double tap, hit you with
Yeah.
4 pallets. Like, yeah, I expected it. It's fine. I get
Yeah,
it.
which I try not to get too mad about, people and how they play the game, it's
Yeah.
because, and it's just that's I just said it, it's a game, so I try not to get too like mad. I get mad more so like on something on my end, like I hate
Yeah.
being exhausted on the
Mhm.
ground. That really irritates the shit out of me. So I always do like my speech of fire and I'm like, exhausted on the ground. Jesus Christ. Like if I had a counter for
Mhm.
those,
Yeah.
it would probably be in the thousands, I'd have to say, me being exhausted on the ground.
The one thing that a lot of players don't look at when they're playing this game, whether they're trying to be better or not, or they're trying to meme, like if you want to be good at this game, quit putting blame on the other players, right? And that's one thing you see a lot. Oh, well, this player did this. Oh, well, this player did this. Oh, that killer did this. When I stopped, like, oh, well, those survivors, they were a Swift. Oh, those survivors, they did this. And I started looking at like, well, I messed up here. I messed up here. I started watching Mac Vods of like, okay, what did I do wrong here? I don't understand. That's when I saw my skill level start to increase and get better. Because instead of pointing outward, I looked inward. And I think like in general, from just in life, the more you do that as a human being, the more you grow. Um, so why not video games? And now here we are. Like I've learned quite a bit from analyzing my own gameplay and getting better at it. And not blaming others, just being like, hey, they played better than me. I need to get better.
So do you watch your VODs to get better at streaming too?
I watch my VODs. from the streaming side of things, especially if I notice something that just like it felt weird. Like I go back and watch it. Um, I've come a long way with streaming as far as like the ability to create content because it doesn't come as naturally to me as it does some of our friends, right? Some of our friends are just content gold mines. And if they like, also, I'll use Tally as an example. If Tally buckled down and streamed and had a set schedule, he would be partner in 6 months.
Absolutely.
He is a content gold mine, right? He can create content with, he's the MacGyver of content. You give him a toothpick, piece of paper, and chewing gum, and he's got a bazooka, right? Like, he, content gold mine. But somebody like me, like, I had to get comfortable first playing the game to be able, and my content is based on my gameplay with my reactions, right? I'm a very reactionary type of person. So if I hit that good shot, I'm yelling, and I'm hooting and hollering, I'm jumping up and down. Whereas like Tally, pretends to do a 360 and he turns that into like the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, it took me a minute to figure out how to create content. I feel like a lot of streamers starting out um, you know, struggle with that, and it definitely like took some guidance to get there. Um, but it took somebody literally telling me, "Hey, you're not as good as you think you are," and it humbles you. You come back to the drawing board and you create a plan and you get better. So,
Yeah, which I'd completely agree with you about Tally because he's definitely one of a kind, and I
mhm,
do see him definitely going places just because he's just one of those guys that's very naturally funny, and he can carry a conversation, and I think that's one of the things that I struggle with is that if it's dead quiet, I struggle with kind of carrying on. Like I don't really like explaining what I'm doing, which I
mhm.
will, but like I don't really like explaining it, and that's one of the things that I struggle with.
Well,
Do you
that's what I
struggle with
used to
anything
do.
like that?
So that's what I used to do to fill the dead air, is I used to just talk through what I was doing. And people were like, "You do realize like the people watching you right now have more hours than you. Like you don't need to explain to them what you're doing. They know what you're doing." But now that I've got like the the killer tournament killer vibes, right? Like the branding of that now I have people asking me what I'm doing. People, hey, can you teach me what you did there and what made you do that? Because I don't understand, but it worked. Why? So now it's and like I'm the furthest thing from educational. Like I know what perks work for killer, right? I understand how the perks work as killer, but do I know every single perk off the top of my head down to like the second? No. No, I'm just like I just kinda have that internal clock, like, I know when something's gonna happen, like, I kinda know when Corrupt's about to end, right? We know it's 2 minutes, but, like, I generally just kinda have that feeling, "Okay, Corrupt's about to be done." Um, as far as, like, the survivor perks, I know the base like, the majority of them. I don't know every single one of them. Could I tell you? Probably, if you ask me, like, "Hey, what does this perk do?" I'm like, "I think it does this," but I'm by no means educational, but when it comes to, like, understanding the mind of a killer, I kinda understand that, right? Because, like, the killers when you're playing as killer, you have to think a certain way, um, and, like, it's about reading, the habits of the survivors you're doing and assimilating that information or osmosing that emulation or wow, osmosing that information quickly, um, and doing what you can with it, right? So, and that's where I always thought I was very good at, was getting information based on what I was reading in the game and being able to apply it, quickly. So, um, the biggest thing I struggled with initially was just, like, finding that middle ground before, like, completely going face first into the game and reading chat, right? Like, I couldn't figure out that balance because I'm like, "Do they wanna see me sweat? Do they wanna see me read chat? They want a mixture of both?" Um, so, like, it was definitely some learning curves in there and understanding how things worked, and, I'm definitely not the best streamer, but I'm definitely gonna work as hard as I can to be as good as I can, um, and I'm okay with that.
Well, absolutely. And I think you have a very good mentor because RM's one of the best at, being a killer main and, actually
Mhm.
still being able to keep up with chat because he usually
Absolutely.
reads just about everything that comes across. And I noticed that you do too.
Mhm.
And so does Gannicus. Pretty much all of you guys have gotten really good at, paying attention to what's going on and being able to double over and see what's going on in chat.
I learned everything about killer the basics and everything from Running Man. Now, not like one-on-one sessions, but watching his streams once Tally introduced me to him. Um, I learned the basics of this game from watching him play Killer. Now, granted, did I learn it from playing it too and just kind of figured out what worked for me? Absolutely. But I learned like how to compete, or not even necessarily compete. Like I just understood how to play the game at a higher level from watching him. People don't realize Running Man is probably one of the best killers out there. He just doesn't take it serious, right? He enjoys being the 2K king. He enjoys it, right? He
Yeah,
enjoys Bubba. A good team will wreck Bubba, but he enjoys playing Bubba, right? Um, like Running Man, he says I'm a better killer. Nah, I'll give him that title all day long. I'm sorry, I don't care how much experience I play in this game and how well I play. His knowledge will always be the game changer for him against me, in my opinion. Like if you were to compare our play styles. Um, so I mean, I pay respect to the people that have put in the work, and when you've put in 8,000 hours, you know, you've been playing this game since launch, so your souls, him, Ott, Dowsy, you know, the bigger DVD streamers have been doing this for so long. Like, hats off to them. I'm just beginning. You know, my measly 1,000 hours, you know, it has nothing on the amount of information they've been able to absorb in this game.
absolutely. Which I think Soul and Running Man are like neck and neck because Soul's the same way. Like
Mhm.
if he goes in and super sweats, he'll wreck a 4 team. You know, like doesn't matter comms, whatever. He'll just completely wreck them. You
I
know,
think
and
so. Yeah, you're right, 100%. Running Man taught me how to play variety, so I learned a little bit of every killer, like to be good, not great, but like decently good above average on every killer. Um, I still hate Legion with a passion, but Soul, I actually went to before my one of my community showdowns with Spooky, which was one of the first times I ever did anything that was like in competitive setting, and asked Soul like, "Hey, I want to play Nurse and Huntress. How do you play them? Like, teach me." And he actually told me what he does and how to play him. I went to a stream and he showed me like he talked me through a Huntress match, uh, live streaming. Um, and then playing Huntress, got good at playing Huntress, decent at playing Huntress. And then I watched Spooky Loops play Huntress. Soul's definitely a better Huntress all around because Soul will M1. Spooky doesn't M1 at all. At all. Refuses to. And so because of that, it gave me like a challenge, right? And I like challenges. Like you asked me to do something midstream, like, bet you can't do this. I'm like, oh yeah? Bet. Let's try it. So because of that, I've really like honed in on like throwing hatchets and understanding the angles because I only am two. Now in competitive, I am 100%, but pubs, I only am two. So like I've went like I learned the basics from Running Man, and then I've gone for like the specialists from the people that I know are great at the like the quote unquote the one tricks is what people call them. And like I really realized how good I wanted to be at killer after I faced Umbra. I actually played against her as her ghost face. And like the amount of like once people realized that they were facing Umbra, like the amount of hope that disappeared from the lobby, like I wanted to be that killer that invoked that in the survivors. Like I'm like, I want to be her. Like that's what I
yeah,
want. Um, and so really since that, since Running Man telling me I was not a good killer, and he meant and don't just say like he was just shitting on me, like shit talking me. It was one of those one-on-one DMs. Um, and he was like, "You think you're good, but you're not. You're passable at best." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." You know, this was me at like 200, 300 hours. Like I thought I was good. My killer now would shit on my killers then,
could
and it blows my
Survivor
mind.
D, could Survivor D get away from Killer D?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oh my goodness. I would be asking myself if I was playing myself as Survivor, I'd be looking at myself like, the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what? Like,
He's
there's no
trying to head
way.
on me.
What is he doing? Like, as I yank myself out of the locker for the third time, like, what? So, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I like to think that I'm coachable. Um, and I take constructive criticism very, very well. And if something's not working or I want to get better, like you have to listen to what people are saying. And not in a sense of like the people that are doubting you, but more so like the people that are trying to help you. And I had a lot of people trying to help, and I'm very fortunate for that.
Oh yeah. Well, what are your goals right now?
Um, so right now, as you saw, we started a comp team. We want to qualify for Vigos. Um, I'm very confident that our team is going to do well. Running Man and I talked, and we decided we want to put a team together. He named me the captain, and here we are. So that's been a ride. I got that competitive itch from the showdowns. Like I 100% thank Spooky Loops for putting those on, because if it had not been for that and Sammy telling me you need to sign up for this, um, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. The community showdowns are single-handedly what have led to me growing as a content creator, growing as a killer, and then Running Man being like, "Hey, you need to lean into this. Like, quit denying you're sweaty, own it. Like, you're competitive. You want to win. Just lean into it." And we worked on keywording in the your titles when you go live, and then here you go. That one guy D, competitive DVD tournament killer, caster for Vigo's Court, former world record holder, you know?
That still blows my mind, like it's like in the entire world, you were the
Mhm.
number one. And that's crazy. That's still cool.
I mean, I'm sure there are faster games out there, and I'm sure there were, but they've got to be recorded. You can't prove it otherwise. You could come out and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I got a 4K in 1 minute." Cool. Where's the proof? I respect it. Good for you. Like, I'm really happy for you, but you need to have proof that you did that. Um, and I've had plenty of times get taken from DCs, from Kobe's. But it's been a fun ride. It added a different element of excitement to how I play the game. Because now there's two sides. There's, speedrun Dave, right? And then there's competitive me. And they're two different players. And it's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, that's pretty much one of your niches now, that you're a speedrunner.
Hmm.
And I mean, I think that's a good thing to lean into because you don't really see it a lot. There's not a lot of people that advertise that they're a world record holder and
Hmm.
that they are pursuing, to get more records if they can, at
My
all
goal
feasible.
my goal when I found that was that I wanted to put a time on every one of the lists. I wanted to be on top 10 and every single killer. Um, and right now I'm top 10 and 11. And since I've been doing this, and I've had the top 10 get up to 14 on the list, but as we've been doing this, more and more people are discovering it, right? Because I talk about it. Running Man has a bigger platform than me. He got a top time. Now more and more people are finding out about it. Ox is on the list for Death Slinger. More and more people know about it. People like Dowsy, Trickster,
Death
like
Slinger.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, that just goes to show, like, more big names are finding out about it and getting put on this
Yeah.
list, which is all I want. Like, I don't wanna be the number 1 Wraith time if only 10 people know about it,
Well, yeah, and
right?
I mean, yeah, which that kind of leans into you being competitive. If there's
Mhm.
if there's more people trying for it, that's more competition. I mean, that's not necessarily a
Exactly.
bad thing, but it just it pushes you harder to do even better.
Mhm.
Which
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I've got
obviously
a
obviously you're doing a lot better than you were, and you're gonna keep pushing harder and harder, which is great to see. You love to see that.
yeah, I try. Um, I'm not content where I'm at. My goal is to keep pushing forward, and, one thing I've never been is, "You know what? I'm cool where I'm at." No, I've always wanted to be the best at what I'm doing. I've always had that drive to be better, as a human being, whatever it is I'm doing career-wise. So if I do something, I'm not doing it to just do it. And I think once I made that thought process of, you know what, streaming is no longer just a hobby, it's basically a second job now, and started taking it serious. I really started to improve because I started taking it serious, um, and I think that all comes back. Like my mom and dad, they instilled a lot of like you work hard, right? You're not given anything. So you go out there if you want something, you go out there and work hard and you take it. And so that's what I've always done.
Which it's clearly paying off. You've got a great job, you've got a great community growing, and you're a part of a fantastic team, and you just keep, you know, it's like I'm excited to see where you're going next. I want to see you start winning tournaments. I want to see your name pushed out there more. I want to see you competing with these bigger people. Like I want to see you with Spooky and Umbra, and Dowsy. Oh, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see you just going further and further.
I mean, we're just beginning. We're just starting. It's crazy because I feel like I've accomplished a lot and so quick, right? But I feel like I've also just opened the doors to really start like moving forward. So again, it comes back to like, nah, I got more plans. Let's do this. So yeah, obviously partner, I would love to get it. Is that the end game? No, because I know once you get partner, you've got a lot more you got to do. It's not enough to just get partner. Um,
Yeah.
there's more I could be doing. And I think growing as a person, having a community where people are able to come and hang out and be themselves, watch good gameplay. Well, arguably good gameplay. You know, it's it's nice knowing that people feel safe when they come in watching somebody play at a higher level because you don't get that a lot, right? A lot of the higher level people, it's just people talking shit the whole time. And it's not every creator, but there's a lot that are like that. And I didn't want my community to have that. I just want people to come in and relax. And yeah, you guys can razz me, but love each other. Um, you know, and I'm always appreciative of the time, like whether I've got one viewer or 30 or even you know 50, 60, 70, it doesn't matter. Like imagine sitting in a room playing a video game, right? And you've got 10 of your closest friends watching you play a game and they're getting hyped while you're playing that game, right? To me, that's more than enough. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I look at it. Whether I've got one person there hyping me up or 50 people there, there are people that are technically behind me watching me doing what I'm doing and they're getting hyped about it. Like that's awesome. That's a great feeling. And at the same time, they're escaping from reality. You've given them a avenue. Life is hard right now. There's a lot of things going on for a lot of people, and as you become an adult, you realize how hard it is for some people. Um, and I started playing video games because it was a way to de-stress, not worry about anything. You get lost in video games for hours, right? My favorite video game of all time, Final Fantasy X. I played that game so much growing up, but I would get lost in the story and in the characters. But like if I can give somebody 5, 10, 20 minutes, however long during their stream of, life relief because they got to relax and not worry about a damn thing, then I did my job. And that's the mindset I've had. Like come join me escaping from things. I'll be the guide. You just hang out.
I like that a lot. Well, right now we're going to reach the point that we're going to ask some questions from the community. Does anybody
Absolutely.
have anything they'd like to ask D? I got one to fill some time up. What do you
Yeah,
look for in a
absolutely.
moderator?
And a moderator? Well, I got very fortunate from the start that Sammy, I worked with her. She was actually one of my, when I was a GM of the restaurant, she was one of my like top trainers, top servers. And so I trained her to be a manager. So when I left the restaurant, she actually became a manager. She got promoted. And we've just been best friends since, right? She was around when I first was going through all my struggles with me and my ex-wife. And then I've helped her with a lot of her issues going on in her personal life and kind of working through that. So we've got a bond outside of Twitch, and we think very, very similar. I was very fortunate to have somebody that's there all the time. That's just like, I want to support it. I want to help any way I can. And so she's kind of been on this journey with me, um, becoming a mod and now like editing, team manager for Cerebral Assassins. Like, she's the one doing the admin work behind the scenes. And I'm not where I'm at if I don't have her. So I got spoiled with like what I expect from a mod, right? Because she's always there. But I want somebody that understands what I'm trying to bring to the table with streaming, and what I want from the community, right? We don't like toxicity. Do I have my toxic moments? 100%. Everybody does. But we don't want to build it on toxicity. We want people coming in feeling welcome. Um, you know, uh, Ganny. Ganny's been there since day one as a mod as well. He's got his own thing, and I can't expect him to be there all the time. He's a tremendous streamer. He's growing as well. But he comes in, he understands what the mindset is. Like, hey, we're in here to have a good time. We're here to play a game and just relax. Like it's pixels on a screen. Like come in, state your point, but move on after that. Either be a part and contribute or move on. So it's just people that uphold the same standards, same beliefs, same morals, um, and that are there and want to be a part of it, want to be a part of building something. So we added Talon. Talon's a homie, brother for life. We added one of our friends, Spooks. She's amazing. And they've been there. So just somebody, as we've kind of grown and allowed them to kind of do their thing, and it's worked out very nicely.
What about VIPs?
There's no set routine to it. Like I've got VIPs that I've played games with offline that I really enjoy being around, and it's not to take away anything from people that are there all the time, right? Like I have a channel point redemption, and every time somebody does redeem it, I up the amount. Sorry, it's just how it's going to go. I'm not going to give everybody VIP. Um, I've got my Cerebral Assassins, my teammates, all VIPs. I've got the GG Gamers, all VIPs. People that have helped mentor me. I've got VIPs. So like there's no real like methodology to it. It's just more so um just whatever I'm feeling at the time, I guess.
Just seems that that's probably a good policy, because you can't really like give everyone VIP, and everybody's like, oh, I want that, and you're like, you do better.
Yeah, like, and I don't want, and I hate, like, it's weird because VIP, I almost feel like kind of alienates some people because, like, I've got people that are around all the time that aren't VIPs, but like, I don't feel I should have to give everybody that, right? And I mean that in the most respectful way. Um, but if you get the channel points for it, absolutely, like, cool, I'll do it. But um, obviously, I give like my in real life friends VIP, right? My founders people VIP. I've got teammates. I've got I've got all that stuff. Um, I want people to understand like it's nothing against anybody, nothing. I appreciate everybody's time that comes in. Um, so no real thought process, man. Just kind of do it.
Do we have any questions for D? You guys are kind of quiet. Nobody has any questions for D. They don't want to know about how he sweats so hard and still keeps sane. Like sane. I said sand.
I mean, I could touch on that. I mean, that's kind of a question. Believe it or not, the running man, when I asked him, like, hey, how are you, like, what makes you so good? What's so different from everybody? Um, and he goes, emotional control. That was the one thing he told me that will change how you play the game. Emotional control is a killer. Because if you're raging after 3 gens going down, you're going to lose the game. Because I came to the realization, like, most of your games starting off, and especially as you're coming up, 3 gens are going to pop regardless. But that means you got 2 gens that haven't been touched. So you can control the game, shrink the map down. Um, Keep your emotions in check because if you're able to keep them in check, you're able to make good decisions in high pressure situations to win the game. And let me tell you, hearing that changed it because I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Sony Rose asks, Iron Maiden value win. Is
And
this an
comp.
inside thing?
So I played in Community Showdown 2 for this, which is Spooky Loops, right? And Sonya is a mod for Spooky. Sonya's like a lifetime mod. I don't. It's insane. Like Sonya's everywhere modding, and every Twitch channel I see her everywhere. She's insane. Um, but I did Community Showdown 2, and Spooky is a Huntress main. Hates Thompson House, and hates M1s. So for the show, uh, I made sure to M1 as Huntress on Thompson House. Because I was like, his crowd, his fan base is going to love that I play Huntress first off. Secondly, they're going to love the fact that I M1 just to do it because I played the entire match M2 after that. I did it just that one time to get a rise out of him to get him fired up, and it's been an inside joke in that community with me and him and Sonya since then, and it was so funny. And Spooky, he's another guy that I ask a lot of questions. We talk about a lot of the updates, and he's definitely a homie as well. So it's been very fortunate to have met all these people. And like, I never would have expected this ever. Like, I'm just a dude playing a dude, killing other dudes. And I've held on to that. I just happen to got a lot better at it.
Uh, what do you think is the number one fault beginners? Okay, what do you think the number one fault the beginners do when they start streaming?
View count. They have their view count up. Because when you're first starting off, you don't know what you're doing, right? So you're finding validation if people are coming in or not. I was guilty of it, 100%. I had that view count constantly up. I was checking it, and I wasn't focused on what I needed to do to bring them in, right? And the once I started turning off that view count, especially in the early days, it changed how I started growing as a streamer. So the number one advice I give to anybody coming in is get comfortable, one, talking to yourself because it's going to happen. That's the hard truth. You're going to be talking to yourself. You have to get comfortable with that. Two, turn off that viewer count because you need to not associate your self worth with the number. You need to learn to appreciate what you bring to the table and learn that you're creating content that you would want to watch, right? Um, turn off that number because you could be creating content you just haven't been found yet. It's a possible thing. It happens all the time. Everybody started somewhere, right? But that view count, I think, deters a lot of people from really seeing their true value as a streamer because they're busy looking at that number drop from 10 to 4 and then up to 5 and then back down to 2 and then back up to 8. Like it goes up and down. It happens, and even now, like I've seen my numbers get up to 60s, 70s organically. And when I see it drop to 40 sometimes, like, yeah, you're like, what happened? But it's just the way it is, right? And if you constantly are watching that number, you're never going to grow.
That's very good. That's very good advice because there's a lot of people, they almost get like sad whenever they see that number.
Mhm.
It's like an energy mood change,
Yep.
and you got to bring the same amount of energy no matter what, and that's kind of one of the things that everybody has to tell themselves.
Whether you're streaming to one person or 10,000, you need to be the same person, 100%.
It's a good way to look at it. It's a good
Mhm.
way. Boosted says, D, can you rap for us? Which I'm not expecting you to, but I do want to know, why did you go with the T-Pain? The boop, boop, Lego, Lego.
I thought it was the funniest thing I had heard when I first heard that. I was so hype after I'm a big music guy, so I've
Yeah.
constantly got new music I'm finding, whether I mean, I listen to everything, everything. Like, when I play Huntress after a Huntress game, I sing Shining Star by Earth, Wind& and Fire, like, it's just something I do, like, I love all kinds of music, and I heard that clip and, I was like, "This is great. I love this." So I just was like, "You know what? That'd be a great raid message as people coming in."
Yeah.
So I went with it, and now it's
Which
kinda stuck.
Which honestly, I love it. I love raiding your ear because you about to get it, crack it in this bitch. I like
Yeah,
I like hearing it every time you come in. Is you hear
I
T
you
Pain and
have
then you
to.
hear you.
You have to, right? Like, it's about getting people hyped for the raid, like, whether you're raiding with 1 person or 5 or, 800, right? A raid's a raid. They decide to take their community and bring them to you. Whether you know the community or not, they chose to leave them with you. Make them feel special. And if they're getting hype and they're getting that emotion, they're seeing me get hype when they come in, like it makes them feel better, It makes them know, like, all right, I made the right choice. I mean, how many times have you seen a raid come into a streamer and they're just like, oh, thanks. You know, I've seen it. And be appreciative. Like they just dropped off X amount of viewers with you. Like, there's nothing else you have to say, like, be happy, get excited about it, right? Like,
Yeah,
it just is what it is, like, just that's why I went with it. I felt like it was something that got people hype in chat, like, it got me hype hearing it, like, I don't know, it just works.
it's a good explanation. Lady Dark Knight says, "Can we see the hair?"
Y'all love the hair. Yeah, I got the long hair right here.
Oh damn, I didn't know it was that long. I remember I
Oh,
saw it
it's
one day,
long.
but damn, man, glorious, glorious locks.
Oh, yeah, it's ponytail length, let me tell you.
Okay, it looks like
I
we don't
just
have any more questions.
No, you're all good. I've appreciated the time being here, people listening, showing up, and hearing a little bit about me. Cause like I'm an open book. People ask questions on stream all the time. I feel like I've done this the right way. I've come up the right way, and I've been open about who I am the whole time. The struggles I've been through, the things I've overcome. You know, I have 2 children, love my daughters to death. And I want them to see like if you work hard at something, you can achieve anything you want. So like they see me working hard and um, I'm me, and I'm not afraid to show who I am. So,
I really like that. In closing, do you have any like tips or anything for anybody starting out?
in DBD or Twitch or both
Just streaming in general.
streaming, um, find a game that you enjoy playing. Really, just find a game that you really enjoy playing. Don't play what's popular. Don't play what's going off. Find a game that you enjoy streaming. Network in that game, make some friends, and watch yourself be happy playing video games with your friends. That's how it starts. And then from that, evolve. don't be content with where you're at. Always try to do something better and move forward, because a lot of people suffer from playing a game they didn't want to play, and they did it because it was popular. Um, they play a game they don't enjoy, which I think I just said that twice, but either way, double down on it, um, because that's how burnouts happen. You're playing a game you don't like. You're doing it because it's popular. Um, People could tell when you're genuinely enjoying a game. They want to feel that, right? They want to enjoy that with you. And then networking. That's one thing that people don't realize. There's a difference between networking and then going in and name dropping, right? Or trying to like, oh, all right, well, I'm going to go stream. Get into their network. Get to know who your people are, like who you're talking to, what they do, what do they like to do. Like I know you, right? Like I wouldn't just come and be like, all right, well, I'm leaving. I'm going to go stream now. Like that's not how you make friends, right? And it's crazy to me to think that like since I've started, I've made friends all over the world now, right? Genuine friends I've enjoyed. Like we had Deeks in chat, right? Deeks is in Australia. I would have never met anybody in Australia just like walking and be like, "Oh hi, I'm gonna go stream now." Genuinely make connections, and I think if you're constantly trying to make more connections and constantly grow, I think you'll be all right. But it all starts with play what you love and just stick with it.
I love that explanation, man. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed bullshitting with you whenever it started, and we
Mhm.
kind of had just the talk since we'd like never legitimately like talked one on one.
Yeah.
And you're a great dude. I'm looking forward to see where it goes and how far you go, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Always the moving forward. That's the advice. Let's keep it going.
That's right, dude. That's right. Well, dude, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. If
Absolutely.
you need me, just give me a holler, man. I don't know what you'd need me for, but if you ever need anything, you give me a holler, all right?
Well, hey, Swift Saturday still it will be live shortly, so I'll definitely always love to play games with you, man.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, dude, and
Absolutely.
proud of you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I see you growing too. I see you doing things to grow as well. So I'm right there with you. I'm watching you, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the growth.
All right, thanks, brother. You have a good one.
You too.
All right, guys, give it up. Give it up for him. Just one more time. What a fantastic dude. What a legend. What a legend. I love D. He's a great guy. He's a solid guy. Make sure to go check him out. And just a reminder, we do have some other streamers coming up. I don't have any dates yet, but we are looking towards to getting a Prosperger said he would come on. We have Dina B saying she would come on. And I've obviously asked some other streamers to try to come in here and get some more people lined up and everything else. And do not forget this goes on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all that other good stuff. If you have any other streamers that you guys would like us to interview, go ahead and throw them down. I love and appreciate every one of you. If you're hearing my voice, know that I love the shit out of you.